It's off to Leonard, defended by Simmons. Is this the dagger?
Before we start diving into which could be maybe the most impressive individual performance in league history, I think that's up for debate. We have to start with what led to it. And in my opinion, what led to this scoring outburst was the departure of one of the best players in league history. So we're obviously talking about the Kobe and Shaq breakup. From your memory, could you kind of walk me through what your memory is of the breakup?
So it's funny because I've been reading so much about it now over the last couple days, and I'm not sure if what I'm reading is informing my memory more than I realize. But everything I've read about how Kobe really was like scapegoated for the breakup of everything with the Lakers in 2004. And that was how I remembered it, but I wasn't totally sure if that was like my memory playing tricks on me or if that's really how it went down. And digging into it, like, it was actually probably even more one-sided, like the media reaction, than I remembered it being. Like, there was nobody who was coming out on, like, the Kobe side. And obviously there were fans.
Right.
But just in terms of the way it was covered by the media, you have Phil leave first. And I think that is something that's actually like a forgotten piece of this whole story.
Yep.
Is 3 days after the Lakers lose the 2004 finals to the Pistons, it's announced that Phil isn't coming back. And that's in part due to the fact that throughout that 2003-04 season, there are two camps that get established. There's the Shaq camp and the Kobe camp. And Phil has firmly positioned himself into that Shaq camp. And when it starts to come out that Shaq is probably going to be traded, and that's facilitated by the fact that Shaq requested a trade, you have two of the three members of this triangle, pun intended, who are leaving LA, and it's just Kobe left. And everyone, from what I could tell from the research that I did, everyone abandoned ship on Kobe and scapegoated him to be the catalyst of all of this falling apart. It was a not so great finals for him. And then the off season, it was just like he became the punching bag because Shaq and Phil are both gone.
Absolutely. No, I think obviously the 2004 season didn't help the cause, but it definitely felt like there's this figure that has proved that he's a winner. Phil Jackson, proven winning coach. and it's almost like they're you know, getting thrown to the wolves by this young kid who just wants to chase his points. But I'm actually glad that you brought Phil into it, because I think it even goes a little bit further back. Like, I think it almost all starts in the 2002-2003 year. So it's the year where they are coming off their three-peat, and Shaq decides to delay his toe surgery and basically do it on company time. And I think he actually even says, like, I'm doing it on company time. And then, you know, Kobe got off to a pretty hot start. He had that stretch of games in that season where I think he scored 40 in 9 straight games. And it felt like Phil kind of played this, like, cat and mouse with those two. And it's like he kind of wanted there to be this additional drama that was going on. And I actually listened to that Shaq and Kobe interview. They sat down for NBA TV and they did an interview.
Was that the players only one?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
They didn't cry like Magic and Isaiah, but it was a really good interview. And Kobe even mentioned how, like, Phil was not a very confrontational person. He liked to leave these, like, hidden messages that hopefully they would figure out, and by the end of the year would make them a better team. And it almost felt like he wanted them to have a little bit of tension in the locker room, a little bit of like a tug of war whose team it was, because it motivated them in a weird way. But I think it just got a little too far gone, and they couldn't pull it back. And then obviously, yeah, after the 2004 season, you know, it just completely unravels. And, you know, who's to blame? I think that everyone has a piece of the pie on that one. But it certainly, you know, changed the whole entire league because of drama that they just couldn't get past.
It was a little bit like a common sitcom trope where you have the parent and they're pitting the two siblings against each other to, like, eventually come together and, like, oh, mom or dad is the bad guy. We're gonna come together and we got each other's backs.
Right.
And it just never worked like that beyond 2002 for the Lakers. It was like that tension might have been good those first 3 years, but once Kobe got a taste of being the man, and once Shaq's production started to slip a little bit, and he wasn't ready to relinquish the keys, then it was like, okay, all the tension that Phil is causing, it's just going to end up being a fracture, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it's just they had two completely different outlooks on the game, too. So when there's all of this tension and they just don't see things the same way, there was going to be a bad ending. It almost just felt like it was, you know, there was no way around it. And, you know, in the organizational standpoint, I'm a biased Kobe fan, but, you know, Kobe was 25, Shaq was 32. Shaq was seeking he wanted $30 million, I think. And that's just, you know, at that time, I just don't think the Lakers were willing to do that. It is kind of funny though. They re-signed Kobe like immediately after.
Yeah, I have the timeline. So June 18th, 2004. That's 3 days after the finals. Lakers announced that Phil's not gonna be back the next year. He wanted to double his salary from $6 million to $12 million. Dr. Jerry Buss wasn't willing to budge, and like I said before, there was the tension there already because the Shaq and Kobe situation was not fixable, and Phil was on the Shaq side of things. So July 14th is when the Lakers trade Shaq to Miami for Lamar Odom, Caron Butler, Brian Grant. The very next day, Kobe turns down a 6-year, $100 million contract offer with the Clippers, signs a 7-year, $136 million deal with the Lakers. So, like, the timing of it is pretty funny. And, you know, in the past, they've Kobe came out and said, like, oh, you know, it wasn't just that Shaq got traded. He never wanted to leave the Lakers anyway. And that's kind of a message that he would repeat numerous times throughout his career, especially 3 years later when he does request a trade. We'll get to that. We're skipping ahead.
Yep.
But, yeah, so Shaq gets traded. Rudy Tomjanovich gets hired to be the Lakers head coach in the 04-05 season. And that whole season just ends up being a mess.
Yeah, I mean...
And kind of forgettable now that... Because, like, Kobe plays only 66 games. He averages 27 points per game. Like, statistically, it's a good year. But, like, the next 2 years that were to come... where the Lakers do make the playoffs, and Kobe's scoring is just like at a level that we've really never seen. You kind of forget about that first year where they don't make the playoffs.
Yeah, 100%. Another thing too is like I didn't even know that Rudy got, he resigned midway through the year.
41 games into the year, yeah, I'm out.
Yep, and it kind of just was like that showed how, I just didn't think that there was like a true plan in place. Like obviously they got rid of Shaq and they brought in some quality pieces, but it just kind of felt like it was all over the place again. Kobe does he gets his numbers. Like you said, he misses 16 games due to injury, and I feel like especially during this year, it was like, oh well, the Lakers are stupid. The debate's over, right? Like Shaq wins in this divorce.
Yeah, because Shaq goes to Miami, they instantly become a title threat. They come within, I think, one game of winning the Eastern Conference. They lose to Detroit in the Eastern Conference Finals, and Wade hurts his hip, I think, in that series. So there's like a what if Wade doesn't get hurt, do they get over the hump in that first year as opposed to the second year?
Right.
But Shaq finishes runner-up for MVP, and the Lakers miss the playoffs for the first time in 11 years, and it's like, oh shit, did the Lakers really botch this? And it added fuel to the fire that had already started at the time of the trade, when everyone was kind of unkind about it from LA's perspective. No one thought it was a win for the Lakers.
Right.
And then Shaq goes to Miami and has success right away, and it like validates that.
Absolutely. And there was a clear plan in Miami, right? You have D-Wade, you have this young up-and-coming superstar who really is going to just kind of replace Penny and Kobe in the scheme of like co-stars of Shaq. And, they obviously had great success in the East. And you kind of felt like they were going to win a championship eventually. You didn't know when, but it just felt like this team's going to do it. And then, you turn to the Lakers, and it's kind of a mess.
Nowadays, they just call it a gap year.
Yes, exactly. and it's funny, too, because the gap year, what signals a gap year? A gap year nowadays is like, okay, well, we're going to tank and try to get a high draft pick and rebuild through the draft. The odd thing about the Lakers gap year is like their big significant offseason move was bringing back the guy who kind of started the whole mess. It is Phil Jackson.
Yeah, Phil comes back.
He comes back in the 05-06 year after a complete mess. After he basically picks Shaq's side, and then he decides to come back 1 year later.
And he writes the book about that last season in LA and just like relentlessly goes after Kobe.
Yep.
So yeah, but apparently they make amends in that off season. Phil comes back after just 1 year, But yeah, that is it. They used their draft pick, which was the 10th overall pick, on Andrew Bynum, 17-year-old high schooler who ended up having some good years for the Lakers. Like
Absolutely.
he was before injury kind of heading toward a all-star kind of career.
Oh, without
But
a doubt. I think if he doesn't get hurt, his career is, obviously much different. He certainly was they hit on that draft pick. It takes a bit though. He's, like you said, he's, a very young kid coming into the draft. He's also a big guy. I don't think his body was necessarily physically ready to play, starting center in the league. But, solid pick. Someone they probably can't use right away, but they bring Phil back. And I think that it's, 1 year past the Shaq stuff, starting to settle in a little bit, starting to be, more of Kobe's team. But more than anything, they start running the triangle again. And it gives them a little bit of a sense of identity that they just didn't have that year before. And we could definitely dive into this 05-06 season up until the 81-point game. So, up until January 21st, 2006, they've played 40 games, but they're 21-19. They're, right above 500. And, I think it was really just Kobe took it to a whole nother level that year.
he kind of
Yes.
to. Just looking at the roster, because Bynum doesn't give him anything that rookie year. He doesn't become a double-figure scorer until his third year in the league, which you draft a 17-year-old who's raw, who's kind of a project coming into the draft anyway. Like, you can't bank on him giving you any notable minutes. But that Lakers supporting cast that year, Lamar Odom, solid player. Nice career. He was a vital piece of 2 championship teams for them. Won a 6th Man of the Year. He averaged 14, 9, and 5 that year. Smush Parker, 11 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists per game. Chris Mim is their 4th leading scorer. Stunned that he never played for the Indiana Pacers. Then you have Brian Cook and Kwame Brown rounding out your front court depth. Then you got Devin George and Luke Walton, and that's basically it. That's the team.
I think you had
that's
Sasha.
the team that Kobe's going to.
Sasha played a little bit.
Yep, Sasha Vujacic. I just listed their 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8 leading scorers after Kobe. I stopped at Luke Walton, who averaged a 5, 4, and 2 that year. I thought, okay,
Yep. No, that's fair.
I made the point.
That's fair. And Odom had a solid year, and he was a solid player, but he was looked upon to be their second scoring option on this team. And, he was very productive in his career, but I don't think scoring was ever his strong suit. It was his versatility. It was the fact that he was a 6'10" point forward, basically.
Yeah.
And like you said, Kobe, he certainly carried the load. So 40 games into the season in 2006, he's averaging just about 35 points a game. And he was playing 42 minutes a game almost. So he really had to carry a lot of the offense, and he played a lot of minutes through that year. But he also had some huge scoring outputs that season.
Kobe can't get it.
Now Kobe for 3. I don't believe it. Incredible. 95, 61. Adds to his career best. 62 for Kobe.
I take it back. He is good, but he has more than Dallas has.
Kobe threw the 3, acknowledging the crowd on their feet. And he has outscored the Mavericks at the end of the third quarter.
They better give him a standing ovation.
And then, 5 games leading up to the 81-point game, he averaged 38 points, and that stretch includes a 51 and a 53 burger. So at that point, it just felt like his scoring was just on a whole nother level. It really wasn't so much about the defense. It was really just he was getting to his spots, and that's really all that mattered. He wasn't, worrying about how do I get an open look. It was just how do I get a look off at my spot, and that's what he mastered.
And that's the thing that actually makes the 45% shooting really impressive.
Yeah.
Because he was having to manufacture so much of that on his own.
Absolutely.
And even this game against Toronto, where the level of shot making is just absolutely absurd, and he's hitting a much higher percentage of those shots than he does throughout the year, but he wasn't getting easy looks.
No.
Like the whole defense, you could set to stop him. That is all you have to do when you're playing the Lakers. You don't need to worry about leaving Devin George open in the corner, or there's no other threat.
No, I mean, whenever he caught the ball, it felt like the defenses were loading up on him. So he was constantly seeing, a pack, almost like a pack line defense. His efficiency was honestly pretty solid for the shot attempts that he had to make and take. Overall though, the team just wasn't there. And I kind of feel like he wanted that challenge though. Like it was something that it felt like the first season without Shaq, it was a headache. This season, it was like, all right, this is my challenge. I'm going to just go out there and, do the most. And that's what he did. The shot making, though, was just incredible.
It reminds me a little bit of the final scene in Scarface, where Tony Montana's in his mansion, and he's got all of Sosa's guys closing in on him, and he just a pile of cocaine, and he's just got guns in both hands, and he's like, let's go.
Yeah.
Say hello to my little friend. That was Kobe's whole 05-06 season. It was like, this is my Tony Montana last stand. I'm going down guns blazing. It's all going to happen on my own terms. Say
hello to my little friend. You want to play rough? Okay. Okay, Giuliano. Huh?
And, we fast forward a little bit here. They get bounced in the first round, but taking Phoenix to 7 in the 06 playoffs and winning, 46 games with that supporting cast in the West?
Yeah.
That is an achievement in and of itself.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and do we want to go into kind of the end of this season, or do we want to get into the game and then we'll break that?
Let's do the game. Let's keep it chronologically going. I do have one question for you. Actually, let's save it. Let's get into the game.
Perfect. All right. So like we talked about, 5 games leading into this, he's on a tear, averaging 38 in the month of January 2006. Kobe, Google it. I don't even know what to say. It was incredible. So the game itself, they're playing the Raptors. The Raptors' key players are Chris Bosh and Jalen Rose. They're 14 and 26. It's not like they're this great team. But like you said, the Lakers starters were Smush Parker, Kobe Bryant, Lamar Odom, Chris Mims, and Kwame Brown, who they mentioned in the broadcast just built a $3.6 million Malibu mansion, which I was like, I guess good for Kwame. I'm not going to say anything. But
maybe save that money.
Yeah,
though,
you might
Kwame.
need that later on, but
yeah. I mean, Kobe would have killed for that Raptors line.
Oh, absolutely. Because they had some shooters. Absolutely. But anyway, first quarter kicks off, and the thing that actually stood out to me first was the Raptors were playing zone. Did you notice that?
I did. And the announcers were like openly wondering why they were playing zone. And they were calling it a soft zone. And it really only looked good when Kobe wasn't on the floor.
Yeah.
There was a 6-minute stretch to begin the second quarter where Kobe didn't play and the Lakers scored 3 points in that 6-minute run. That was the only time that they had any success playing zone. This was not Eric Spoelstra dialing up the zone for the Heat in 2020. I did notice that. The first thing that I noticed about the Raptors was actually the 2-color headbands that Mo Pete and I think Charlie Villanueva was wearing one. There are multiple guys. I might have had that exact color combination, the black and red. 2-color headband.
Charlie Villanueva, Team High Sox.
And a UConn guy, former teammate of he was a teammate of Ben Gordon, right?
Oh yeah, he was okay. He's like a family friend of the early Bulls, the early 2000s Bulls. We'll take him.
Okay. But yeah, the headbands, the zone. I did a little digging. Mike James averaged 20 points and 6 assists per game in the 05-06 season. That stunned me.
There was a couple of guys on the Raptors that put up decent numbers through the broadcasts I saw he was one of them that I was like, oh wow. I mean, that's a big number. That's not 12 points a game.
No, and I think he played like all 82. It wasn't like it was a 30-game sample size and he got hurt. Like, I mean, 20 points per game in the NBA is no joke.
But, we'll kick it off with the first quarter scoring. So Kobe gets his first basket on a baseline drive going left. So they decide that they're not going to double Kobe. So he just rips through, goes baseline, finishes with a nice reverse layup. And I feel like that was like the perfect way to start. And I mean, everyone knows you see your first one go through, it's makes the night a lot easier, especially when it's something like a layup. And as he does that, they start talking about his shot attempts on the broadcast. So clearly Kobe had the green light. He shot over 1,000 shot attempts in his first 40 games, averaging about 27 shots a game, which is pretty incredible. So anyway, he gets off scoring easy, and then the next shot he hits, they're playing the triangle. He pops to the top of the key. They hit him. He hits a little turnaround jumper. And it just felt like at that point he was just so poised, and he was just looking to get to his spots. Like I said, he wasn't worried about the defense. He was not, paying any attention to a defender. He was worried about getting to his spot and just elevating. And by that time, I know we talked about in episode 2 how even from 2000 to 2002, his body got more physical, and he just seemed a lot more unbalanced. It's at the peak now.
Oh yeah.
It just felt like there really wasn't any holes in his offensive game at this time.
No, no, there really weren't. I mean, what I found funny was on the point of the shot attempts throughout the broadcast. It was like a through line really until like midway through the third quarter when he really started getting hot. But the announce team kept talking about like how problematic it was that he was taking so many shots, and they were like, it's not sustainable, you can't win this way, gotta get other guys involved. And meanwhile, I'm sitting there watching like, dude, when Kobe's not on the floor, they can't score.
Well, yeah.
I mean, even when he's on the floor, with all the attention that he's getting, it's not like the Lakers are ever really in a position where they could make the opposing team pay. Like
No.
there
No.
was no secondary options. Like, and in a game like this, when you're kind of playing from behind the whole game, fucking ride the hot hand. Like I found it bewildering that they were having such a hard time with the fact that Kobe was taking so many shots. A, for the reason that you mentioned, which is it wasn't new. He'd been averaging 27 shots per game all year. And B, he was on fire right from the start. I mean, it got progressively better and kind of peaked there in the third quarter when I think he goes 11 for 14.
Yeah.
But, like, even in the first quarter, he's 5 for 9 from the field, 2 for 2 from three-point range, makes both free throws. Don't know if you caught this. He had made 57 free throws in a row going into this game.
I didn't.
Yeah.
No.
And then he made his first 5 in the game. So at one point he had made 62 free throws in a row.
Incredible. No, but like you say, I mean, there really was not a secondary option. I will say, Smush Parker, decent first quarter, I suppose, but like all of his points were in transition. At the half court, when they got to a half court, it was Kobe was 1A, 1B, and then maybe Lamar was like 2, and then maybe Kobe was 3, and then Smush was maybe 4. But
so Kobe's 3 of the top 4 options.
Yeah. So Toronto takes a 36-29 lead into the second quarter, and then, like you say, Kobe sits the first 6 minutes, and the Lakers only score 3 points.
Can I give you the rundown of all their possessions?
Oh, that'd be great.
They go 6 offense possessions to start the second quarter. Got a Devin George airball jump hook.
Who's open? It's Sasha. Three-pointer. Guns it underneath to Devin George. A long little hook. Drew nothing but air. Got it back to beat the clock. It's not going to count. Didn't get it away.
Got a Sasha Vujacic corner 3 that hits the side of the backboard.
He's been part of championship teams. How about going away with the other end and then Sasha trying to bank one?
Kwame Brown gets called for offensive 3 seconds.
Walton now into to Sasha. Back to Walton, who's fighting a shooting slump himself. Brown on his wallet in the key. Now out to Odom with 8 on the shot clock. And we've got
Luke Walton picks up an offensive foul.
Goes across the timeline for that quick step, large dribble. Rebound by Walton, but he pushed off.
And Kwame Brown gets called for another offensive 3 seconds.
21 for 22 in the fourth quarter. Chris Bosh was 17 for 17 himself. Another foul away for the play. Another 3 seconds.
I've never in my life maybe Elba High School basketball, but I haven't seen that, I don't think, since the high school level. In 6 possessions, Kwame got called for offensive 3 seconds twice. So
Gotta get in and out, man. Gotta get in and out. He's camping in there. But no, absolutely. It's just, it was terrible. Like, I want to be nice here, but they just didn't have options. They didn't have true NBA scorers on that team. They had young guys who were role players. Like, that's what their peak was role players. And they were young at the time, so they weren't even at, they didn't even hit their full potential. It gets off to a bad start in the second quarter, and Toronto ends up going up 14. Kobe checks back in, buries his first 3. He was like, all right, Dad's going back in, I'll take care of it. Hits his first 3. He actually then misses his next 3 shots. And what I will say is he did go like 3-on-1. I think like 2 or 3 of those possessions, which don't blame him. But
I'm not going to blame him for any of the misses.
Yeah.
Like, there is no other feasible option.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when you're playing from behind. Like,
Right.
If you're playing up 14, And, then it's time to get other guys involved, make the extra pass, see if you could get somebody going. But it just wasn't in Kobe's mindset to okay, I'm going to ease into this.
Not at that point. At that point.
Older Kobe.
Yes.
Once it was Vino Kobe.
Right.
Then yeah, that could be the way he played. But Tony Montana Kobe, it wasn't that wasn't how it was gonna go.
No, it's such a great analogy for him because he had a one-track mind at that point, and it was I'm just gonna do it. If you can't do it, and if you aren't proving to me that you're going to hit shot, I'm not gonna pass you the ball. I'm not going to be Mr. Nice Guy. If you can't do it, fine, I'll do it. And that's what he did in the first. He sat in the second. Obviously comes back, buries the three, goes cold on 3 straight shots. The lead grows to 15. But then he gets back into action off a back cut off the triangle. And he gets a nice dunk on that. And then the next possession, he hits, which to me is probably his ultimate shot, which is that pull up going right. Mm-hmm. I don't know how you stop it. He got to it in a lot of different ways. So he would catch at the high post, and he would either do a forward pivot on his left and 2 hard dribbles and give you 8 pump fakes and then shoot. Or he would, catch at the elbow, he'd, reverse pivot on his left, rip through, get to that 2 dribble pull up, and you just couldn't stop it. He literally mastered that shot. Mm-hmm. And when he started pump faking, I don't know how you guard it, because if you jump, he's going to get to the line. But if you stay down and then he rises, but you rise, he's just going to shoot over you. And it's just, it was a clinic for sure. And it just felt in that quarter, he was scraping to score. There's a lot of hard baskets. Mm-hmm. He even gets his own offensive rebound off
on a free throw. Yeah.
Actually. Yep. But no, it was gritty performance in the first and second quarter. Things weren't necessarily easy, but he was just getting to his spots, and he kept them close, right? So I think he ended the second quarter 5 of 8, scoring 12 points, and I think it was 26 at half.
Yep.
But they're down 14, like you say, they're constantly behind in this game.
They get booed off the court.
Yes.
The Staples crowd, Mike James hits a 3 to close the first half, and they get booed off the court. And Kobe's having this incredible game, 26 points, which, compared to what was to come in the second half is whatever. But even for a guy who's averaging 35 a game at that point,
yeah,
you put up 26 and a half, and it's okay, we have to pay attention to this. This is shaping up to be another 50-point game. We just didn't realize that it was going to be a 50-point half in the third and fourth quarters.
And we talked about this in our last pod, but, average possessions at that point were 92. So it wasn't like players were really scoring that much. So a 50-point game in, 05-06, that meant something.
The pace in this game was 96.9. So a little faster than the league average at that time. Yep. But, it's still not what we're seeing today.
Right.
The league leader's averaging, I think, 105 possessions.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's still a game from the mid-2000s.
26 is a good half at that point. It's, obviously. So yeah, like you say, they get booed off the court. And then the third quarter happens. And might be the best basketball I've ever seen an individual player play for 12 minutes. But I'll let you start off the third quarter.
Well, this is actually a good time to ask you the question that I was thinking about asking you before we started. we have both played a lot of basketball in our life, obviously. Every once in a while, you catch a heater. Mm-hmm. And I was curious, do you have a moment from your career, whether it's high school, college, whatever, where it was just like, I hate to say reminiscent of Kobe's third quarter, because then we're just like diminishing what he did in this third quarter, and we'll get to it. But I'm curious, because like every once in a while that happens, and it is just this like, and anyone who's played basketball knows it. It's this feeling where like I can do no wrong. It doesn't matter what the defense is doing. It doesn't matter like situation of the game. I'm getting this shot up and it's going down, and there's nothing anybody can do about it.
Absolutely. Okay, we get to brag. I love that.
No, you told me that I was, I had a key part in the scouting report.
You did. You definitely.
You said
did.
that I was one of the great foul drawers you've ever played against.
GR history, I will say. I coached in the Genesee region, which is a very small region in upstate New York. I coached in it for 8 years, played in it for 3. Sonny's got to be top 5 at drawing fouls.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
OG free throw merchant right here.
That's right. Shehu. I've been lucky enough to kind of catch a heater. And the funny thing about it is when you're in it, you're not thinking about, certain things that you normally do. So kind of take you into my head, which maybe makes me sound super selfish. But as a player, you kind of always have like an idea of like how many points you have, or like how many shots you've made throughout the game. And it was a game my senior year of high school, and I just got into like this, they call it a flow state, right? Where everything just kind of seems natural, and you aren't pressing, but you kind of feel like you could just do whatever you want. And they talk about Kobe in here too, like he wasn't talking crap through this game. Like he was in that flow state where it just was like very like play after play. You're just focused on the play. And in high school, it was my senior night. We were playing your Elba Lancers. And in the first half, I kind of struggled. I think I had like 12 points in the first half. And then in the second half, it was the only game at the end of the game I didn't know how many points I didn't even know how many points I had come close to. Because I was just focused on like one play after the other. Mm-hmm. And I ended the half with 27. So I finished the game with 39, scoring 27 in the second half. And definitely not Kobe type. No,
that's why I tried to like...
Right. But it was cool to get the experience of like being in that flow state or getting on that heater, because it's true. Like you're not thinking of outside factors. You're not in your head about certain things. It's just like, how do I score on this specific play? And it's clear that's what he wasn't worried about a make or a miss on the last possession. It was like, this is the possession ahead of me. Right. How do I get the best shot attempt? It's a super fun feeling because you feel like you're invincible and you feel like anything you try, it's going to work. That would probably be my one and only. I only got it once.
Funny enough, I listened to that game on the radio from my parents' house in Florida.
Love that. I hope you're rooting. Well, you don't got to say who you're rooting for.
I'll say I was rooting for you. I was. For reasons that I don't need to get into, and besides the fact that we're cousins, but like we went to different high schools, we played against each other. I didn't root for you when I was playing, but once I'm removed from the situation and I'm in Florida, it's like
yeah, absolutely. No, but it was a very just fun experience, and if I wouldn't have experienced it, I wouldn't have understood when people are like, "Oh, I'm just in a flow state," and everything came natural. Because it's like, that's stupid. Like that's not true. But it's the truth. Like, you don't think of like the moves you're gonna do. It just happens. So
it's almost like you like zone out a little bit.
Yes.
I too have only had it once, and for me, unfortunately, it came in an intramural semifinal game.
Hey,
but
it counts.
in all honesty, intramurals in college where I went, like, that was more of a high level than probably 90% of the games I played in high school. I want to say that I made like my first 9 or 10 shots of the game. It started out hot, like I which was weird. I didn't even really like ease into the game or anything.
Right.
And, I've covered this, I think, on the last podcast. Like, I didn't teach myself how to shoot at a high level until I was in college. So I didn't really have these kind of opportunities as a high schooler. But, man, I mean, it's incredible. It's like an out-of-body experience. Yes. And you completely lose track. Like I said, it was probably like my first 8 or 9 shots of the game, and it was from all over the floor. And I have no idea how many it was. I don't know how many points I had. I just remember I missed the free throw. That was the first shot that I missed. And every other one was like contested jumper, going to the basket, tough finishes. And then it was a free throw that I finally missed, and it was like, okay, I came back down to earth. I didn't force it anymore because I was like, I might not have taken a shot the rest of the way, but
when you're in it, you don't even realize it. It's
no,
like
you're just playing, and it's like, okay, I'm here. I'm going to get my shot.
Yep.
And it's probably going to go in. And I don't know how many I've made before this. I'm probably not going to let it stop me from shooting again. But yeah, it just so happened Kobe did this at the absolute highest level, going into a half where he's down 14. And the degree of shot making in the second half of this game is just like otherworldly.
Oh gosh. Like we talked briefly on like the pump fake reload, then shoot. Like that's one of the hardest shots that you consistently see players miss. They'll have an open look, they'll hesitate, and then they'll shoot. And their percentage goes down a crazy amount because it's just like, shoot the first one. And he didn't. And he just was still making it.
There was one, I noted it. And he hit a bunch of shots like this, but there's one in the third quarter that cuts the lead to 9. And he gets an and one on it, where it's what you said before. He like gets the ball on the right wing, hard dribble to the right. I think he shot fakes 3 times.
He does. I have it in my notes.
On Mopi, and he gets the and one, and it's just like, who the hell else makes this shot?
Here's Kobe trying to move around Mopi, trying to put him up. Finally shoots, tied into the foul. You talked about him being in one of those zones. He's definitely in it right now.
I mean, he's always in a zone that's different from every other player, but when he gets into this particular type of a zone, there's really nothing you can do. I mean, Mo Pete tried to stay patient and stay down, but on that third hit fake, he decides to go up with him, gets him on the arm,
and he starts a new streak.
Three-point play for Kobe, and it's down to a 9-9.
It just, for whatever reason, that one stuck out, and that point, he's off and running.
Absolutely. And it was great, too, because, again, like you said, the announcer starts the third quarter, talking about how there's no way the Lakers could win with Kobe going one-on-one. And it's as if Kobe heard it. Because he's like, oh, okay, you think so? Watch.
Yeah.
And he hits, 6? I think he hits his first 6 shots to cut it to 10. Gives him 41 points with 6 minutes left. I counted 3 heat checks out of the 6. These are just heat checks. They all went in. And that was right before the sequence that you described, where he drives right, 3 pump fakes and 1, and then he hits another 3 on the next possession down to give him 47 points, and it cuts the lead to 5. It's with 5 left in the third, so he has 47 points now, with 5 minutes left in the third. That's 21 points in 7 minutes.
Yeah.
That's insane. Like, that's just, he's averaging 3 points a minute.
Because he had 15 of LA's first 16 in the quarter, and that was at the 6:21 mark. So he scored 15 in like 5.5 minutes. Mm-hmm. He has 21 7 minutes in. And none of them are easy. Really, the only easy shot he has in that whole quarter is the one that gets him over 50. He has a steal, and he tiptoes along the sideline and ends up with a breakaway dunk, and it gives LA the lead.
Right, that was gonna say,
with a minute left in the third quarter.
Knocked away by Kobe. Great hustle by Kobe. He's going to score. Don't Lakers lead.
Well, that's 51 for number 8, and the Lakers go up by a deuce.
Yeah, and then they actually go on a little mini run too to end the quarter, and end up going up 6. Kobe goes 11 of 15 in this quarter, scoring 27 points in literally every single type of way. Like, post-ups, threes, in between shots, in transition. It just felt like, like we said, he was in that flow state where, like, anything and everything he wanted to do, it was going in. And now he's at 53 points for the game.
Going into the fourth quarter.
Going into the fourth quarter, Lakers up 6. And I think that's something that people maybe take for granted or don't realize is, like, it wasn't like the Lakers just were winning the game by 15 the whole time and it was like, let's just get Kobe the ball. One, they're 21-19 coming into this game. I think they're currently in 7th place. Like, they're playing a bad Raptors team. They need this win. Like, they can't just lose these games. So, although it wasn't a great competition, it was a big game for them. And they were losing. Like, he needed to do this. It wasn't like it was a one-off night and, he got hot and they just fed him.
Yeah, it really, like, LA ends up winning the game by 18. But really, it doesn't get... I don't think it gets past 10 until there's, like, a couple minutes left. Like, it's within striking distance for Toronto kind of that whole time.
Yeah.
And again, you go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I have it. They get up 10 with 6 minutes left.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah.
But, again, to the point we've hammered home a number of times, where else was the offense coming from? Because if Kobe, if you sub him out or he starts playing passive, the Lakers showed they scored 3 points in 6 minutes without him in the first half. Mm-hmm. So if all of a sudden you don't have Kobe forcing it a little bit, does Toronto climb back into this game? What happens? I think this was the only sustainable way to guarantee you come away with the win. You have a guy in an all-time heater, you keep riding him.
Absolutely. And that's exactly what they did. So going into the fourth, they're up 6. And it's funny, I think it was on his first possession with the ball, he goes to the basket and he gets hit, and he immediately picks up a tech. He immediately starts flipping on the ref.
Tony Montana-esque.
Yeah, exactly. And then after the technical foul, he goes right back to the basket and they blow the whistle. He gets to the line, and it's like it puts him right back into that flow state. He sees the free throws go through, and then he's just back to being stuck on automatic. It just keeps tallying. So with 8:45 left in the game, he splits hedge defender and hits a pull up, and then he scores his 64th point with 6 minutes left, and that's when the Lakers go up 11. And that's a standing ovation because that's his career high.
Yeah.
And one thing that I did know that I thought was really cool is after the Raptors call a timeout, standing ovation, Lakers up 11, and they show Vanessa. And they talk about how she's pregnant with their second daughter. And I was like, that's just, it's crazy to think that, like, Gigi's kind of mentioned in this game that her dad's playing, and it's his most memorable individual game. Yep. And she mentioned it. Just, I was like, wow, like, that's something that we got to hit on. So wanted to make sure that was a point.
No, that was very cool. I also had that in my notes. So it's funny that you bring that up. So yeah, he gets to 64. And then hits back-to-back threes to get to 70 with 4:50 left. And at that point, the Lakers go up 15. And then for good measure, he comes down on the next possession and hits another mid-ranger over Mo Pete to get to 72. And Staples at that point, it's just euphoria in that building.
And what I'll say is at that point, that is when it's like, okay, now they're obviously just trying to get him his points.
Yep.
Up until 72, he needed to score.
Yeah.
Like
I completely agree.
That is the most insane part of it. And then obviously after, he gets his 72nd point of the game. A lot of the times he's going to the line a lot to get to 81. The Raptors start getting really physical with him. It's like once he broke 70, it was like, what are we doing?
And they were so they were just sending doubles immediately. Yep. And one thing I took note of, he had 74 at this point. He splits a double team with just the most ridiculous behind the back through the two guys and ends up getting hit at the basket and making 2 free throws to get up to 76. Like, that's the flow state too, is you could get away with shit like that.
Yep.
And it works because how the hell does that work?
You don't even
I'm gonna find a way to get the clip in here just so people could see how ridiculous it was. But again, that's the stuff you're capable of doing when you are Kobe Bryant, maybe the greatest individual ISO scorer in the history of basketball, at his absolute apex.
Yep, absolutely. And then obviously he gets to 80 and 81 on some free throws. The Lakers now are up 20, and he leaves to a standing ovation with his final stats being he's 28 of 46, so he shoots 61% from the field. He's 7 of 13 from 3, so 54%. 18 of 20 from the free throw line, 90%. Get you 6 rebounds, and then 2 assists. Just
for good measure.
Yeah, I kind of wish he wouldn't have had any.
None.
Yeah, but no, he gives you 2. So I guess my question is we watch it. Where is this? What's the historical context? With this game.
So it's hard because, I think that you would agree with me that there are certain performances that come in the playoffs that just have more weight because of the stakes. So with that said, I think I can confidently say that this is the greatest display of shot making that I've ever seen in my life. I'm not necessarily going to go as far as saying it's one of the greatest performances, because to me there is a performance aspect of doing this in the NBA Finals or in a Game 7. Right. But if we're just talking pure shot making and the ability to score the basketball, I think this is number one. I don't even know that there is necessarily an argument you could make for another performance. I mean, we weren't there obviously for Wilt. There's no existing video of that game, but everything you hear about that game is everything was in the paint. He had an abnormal night shooting free throws. I think he was 28 for 32. And Philadelphia was fouling late in the game to get more possessions to inflate that scoring total. Mm-hmm. So to me, I think you could make the case that this is, without question, the greatest scoring performance in NBA history.
I agree, and especially because, you started by saying the greatest shot making of NBA history, and I will 100% stand by you with that, because what Wilt did was incredible, and I don't think we're ever going to see that again. But he did have a dominance level with his stature. And, he was significantly bigger than those guys. He was significantly more athletic than those guys. Kobe wasn't. Kobe is 6'5", a good athlete, but not a great one. He wasn't, physically dominating the Raptors. He was just hitting shots. He was just hitting shot after shot after shot. And what I'll say is there was 4 guys, right, that have done, scored at least 70 before Kobe cracks 81 in the league. You had Wilt, you had David Thompson, Baylor, and David Robinson. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to even compare or try to say, it's the best, even though I just did. But what I will say is I feel like after this game, Kobe starts to play against Ghost. And what I mean by that is he's not necessarily just playing the competition. He's not playing, to win championships, even though that's what he is playing for. But on a bigger scale, it's okay, he's playing to be one of the best ever. And I think that this game is just there's no argument now. He's one of the best offensive players ever in this game. It stamped it. And I think going forward, he was lifted into those arguments of no, he's one of the best ever. And I don't think that he was in that conversation before. And a lot of that had to do with what we were talking about. He was the outcast. He was the guy who ran Shaq and Phil out. We didn't like him. But this game, it shut a lot of people up, and they had to just kind of take it.
That was actually one of my biggest takeaways was I feel like this game was vital for the rejuvenation of his reputation. It was in one night he went from the villain to the anti-hero. Mm-hmm. It was no longer he was the bad guy. He was the tireless work ethic, obsessed with the craft, master of offensive basketball. And I feel like there was a universal appreciation for him that came from this game.
Absolutely.
That shed a lot of that baggage. Even though it would still be another few years until he would get over the hump without Shaq and win that first title with LA on his own, his 4th title. I feel like this was another pivot point in his career. We talked about the evolution of Kobe. where it was like there's a difference between 2000 Kobe and 2002 or 2003 Kobe. This became the next iteration of him.
Absolutely. Now, I mean, I'll personally like I didn't. It's not that I didn't like Kobe, but when Kobe and Shaq were together, I didn't love the Lakers. It felt like everyone loved the Lakers, and specifically my brother loved the Lakers. And the way we would play basketball outside is we would each pick like a team and we'd play series, right? So he was always the Lakers and I was always the Kings, and he always beat me, and I just didn't like the Lakers. This game is when I was like, I'm a Kobe fan. And I just dove deep into it. And I'm not sure if that was the turning point for a lot of Kobe fans, but what I do know is I think Kobe probably has some of the most passionate fans. And we could be very biased at times, and we're very hard-headed. And I think that a lot of us jumped on the bandwagon after this game, for sure.
As a LeBron fan, I know nothing about being passionate and hard-headed. Not a quality that I associate with.
So speaking of Bron, no, he's still in the league. Is there any shot? I mean, obviously we've seen players get into the 70s, but is there any shot that anyone could break this or even get to 90?
I mean, it's one of those things where I don't think you can never say never, right? Because there was probably a perception heading into this stretch of Kobe's career where, okay, no one's going to get to 80. Like, the only guys post-Wilt who had gotten to 70 were Robinson in 94 and David Thompson in 78. And both of those games happened to be the last game of the year, both guys going for a scoring title.
Right.
So, like, all the factors, it just didn't seem like it was possible. And then for Kobe to do it on a January night, middle of the season, literally the smack dab in the middle of their season, it just kind of... It made it feel like anything was possible. So I'm not going to say that no one can do it. I mean...
Well, I'm glad you said that.
Do you want to...
Because I got an idea. How about we draft?
Let's draft. Let's do it.
We'll draft our 5 player. We'll do... we'll just go every other. Or do you want to do...
So you want to do 5 guys?
Like each.
I'll be honest. I put together this list. Okay, let's do it. Let's see. I think I
got some weird ones.
I got one that qualifies as weird. Okay, and then everyone else I think makes sense.
Do you want to do like a snake draft?
You're the draft guy. I feel like you should.
We'll do a snake draft. You draft. You could go first. So again, this is players that we think could potentially get to 80 or above. And again, this is a long shot. So let's not criticize too much here. But
it's like one of those things. All the factors have to be 100%. In play. So I had 2 guys at the top of my board. I have been waffling on who I wanted to have at the top. Ultimately, I think with my first pick, I'm going to go Luka Doncic. Just because we saw him get to 73 less than 2 years ago. He was 25 for 33 from the field in that game against Atlanta. 8 for 13 from 3. 15 for 16 from the free throw line. That, to me, feels replicable. Like something he could do, especially because he's off to such a hot start already this year. I mean, you just give him 2 more threes in that game, and he's at 79. Like, It wasn't far off, and that game almost went to overtime. If that game against Atlanta goes to overtime, theoretically, he could have ended up with 80. So
Absolutely.
I think that Luka is probably the safest bet.
I would agree, and he's number one on my list as well. As I mean, his usage rate too is just so high that he has the ball in his hands so much that he's always gonna have a shot at it. All right, so that's one. I will go with I'm gonna go with Shea. Just again the usage in the free throws. I think that there could potentially be a game where he maybe shoots like high 30s. That sounds crazy, but it wouldn't shock me if he got to the line 34 times, and 32 of 34, something crazy. So I will go Shea, and then I will go Devin Booker. And again, he scored 70 before. The team that he has, I could see, a game in January where they're out of it and gets off to a hot start and then he goes for it.
Well, that's exactly what happened when he got 70 the first time.
Yep.
Because he and the Suns caught some shit for it because they were fouling late in the game to get him up to 70. But yeah, the like scenario for him is right there.
And I messed up our draft though, so you went first, I went second. I believe you should have went third.
Well, that's okay because you take Booker. He was fourth on my board.
Perfect.
Shea was third on my board. So I'm actually going to get my top two guys, which I'm very pleased with. I'm just going to assume that Victor Wembanyama is going to do a shitload of things that we have never seen or didn't think were possible. I'm going to take him. I mean...
Yeah. Yeah.
Could he have an 80-20 game with 10 blocks? Maybe.
Yeah.
Probably not, but like...
You can't throw it out. You go again, though.
No. We'll just
good?
keep going back and forth. Yeah, because I got the guy that I wanted, that I was debating with Luka anyway.
Perfect.
I think that the strides he's already making.
Absolutely.
Like he's 21 years old. He's 7'6". Like,
and he's gonna go to the line more as he continues to get stronger.
And he makes his free throws. I mean, he's an 80% free throw shooter. So
absolutely, I'm gonna stick with the usage rate, even though it's dipped. Maybe I should have brought Tibbs back into it, but I'll go Brunson. I'll say the Knicks get hurt and Deuce McBride's out and Jordan Clarkson's out and it's just Brunson doing Brunson things, and he gets hot. So I just went with the usage rate on that one.
No, that makes sense. I had him on my list. Yeah. Okay. With my next pick, I'm going to go Nikola Jokic. And not that this is in his nature at all. But he is the type of guy where if he were wired to do so, I think he's one of the guys who would have the best chance. So, like, if someone said to him, like, we're going to euthanize all your horses if you don't go out and score 80 points in this game, maybe that's how he gets it done.
Absolutely. He just doesn't like doing it, but he could.
Right.
I'm not saying he could, but that's a great pick. That's a great pick.
I mean, I don't want anything to happen to any of its horses.
Exactly.
For clarification.
For sure.
We're looking at outside the box scenarios here to find an 80-point scorer.
Absolutely. All right, so we need two more each, right?
I think so.
Need two more each. All right. I'm going to steal another guy who's scored 70 before. So I'm just going to go with Donovan Mitchell. Again, we're going to keep Garland out. Alonzo's not going to play. We're going to just need a real big night from Donovan Mitchell, and if he gets on a heater, I mean, he's proven he's done it before. So I'll go Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah, I mean there are factors that would need to come into play there, but as someone who has been in the building and seen him get on a heater, man, that is a lot of fun to watch. And like there he could get on some sequences where it's just like, oh shit, he just scored 13 points in 2 minutes.
Yep.
And it just happened so abruptly. Great pick. I had him. He was actually next on my board, so he stole one from me. Okay. I'm gonna go, and this might change when this episode gets published or posted or whatever the hell you want to call it. Released. Thank you. My communication degree is failing me. I'm going to go with the second leading scorer in the NBA presently, Tyrese Maxey.
Good pick.
He's scorching hot from three-point range to start the season. It feels like he just plays faster than everyone else in the league. Mm-hmm. And if we get a game where there's no Embiid, and when I say when, I mean, or when there's going to be a game where we don't get Embiid.
Yep.
You don't even need to play slow on account of him for the 24 minutes that he's playing. Maybe there's just a game where it's a track meet and he's on fire from 3-point range and catches lightning in a bottle. He's
leading the league in field goal attempts too.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a good. So he's leading the league at 22.7. Let's just remind everyone that Kobe was shooting 27.
Yep.
But anyway, all right. So one pick each. I'm gonna ask you: do you want like the modest, weird one, or like should I just dive in?
I got a real deep cut for my last one.
All right, I'll go real deep then. We're going in the real dark waters here. I'm thinking this game's gonna be miserable, and I'm thinking that it's just gonna not be a very fun watch. But I got Cam Thomas like shooting the ball 60 times.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Got him! I stole him!
Oh my god!
No! All right, if you want,
I'm stunned.
I could have you pick him because if not,
no. That is just being a great GM on your part. Wow.
No, again, I assume you probably feel the same way I do.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be fun. It would be horrible. And everyone would hate it, but it might happen. That's all.
I thought that was gonna be. I thought that there was no, but I mean, I guess I should have known with you would be someone who would think that way. Okay. I the only other guy I have on my board, and I don't think it could happen just because there are no threes, but Giannis, just as a singularly dominant physical force, if he had another game like the game 6 of the NBA Finals where he just makes all his free throws, get a couple overtimes.
Yep.
I don't know. Yeah. He's the leading scorer in the NBA right now, so I feel like it's a little disrespectful to not to not have him on there. Absolutely. I can't believe you sniped Cam Thomas from me.
I know. I'm sorry. I should have went Lauri Markkanen because
I almost had Markkanen.
He was my other one. Just, maybe he's going to start playing like Euroball and just go off. But no, that was a fun exercise. I think it also kind of hits home like how hard this is and how it's just not something that you obviously could expect, but like when it happens, it's so rare and special, and that's exactly what the Kobe game was. It was special, and it changed his career, like you said, changed his legacy. It was one of the best games, or at least probably one of the more popular games in NBA history. But it was just one game, and it put them to 22-19. So to go back, we were going to kind of cover. We talked about you had mentioned earlier in the pod how he ends up asking for a trade request, and we'll get there. But right now we're coming off of the 81-point game, and we're going to end, just finish the 05-06 season. Mm-hmm. So in that year, he ends up playing 80 games. He averages 41 minutes. He scores 35.4 points per game, which is his career high. His field goal percentage was 45%, and his three-point percentage stayed around 35%. So that was pretty consistent throughout the entire league. His usage rate was 38.7%, which was like far and away the highest in the league. He scored 40 points 27 times, scored 50 points 6 times. He scored 62 against Dallas in 3 quarters, 81 against Toronto, and he leads that brutal Lakers team to a 7th seed in the West.
And then pushes Phoenix. Then pushes Phoenix to 7 games in the first round of the playoffs with a buzzer beater thrown in there.
Absolutely. And I think we talk about the trade request. I think in that Sun series is when he starts hinting at, like, I've had my year of fun. I've had my year of scoring, the way I want to. Mm-hmm. I need help. And the reason I say that is they lose game 1 to Phoenix, and then they come back and they win 3 straight. Game 4 is that famous buzzer beater, which obviously I think everyone knows. You got to go with the fist up. And then they lose 3 straight. And in game 7, he scores 24 points, but 23 of them are in the first half. Mm-hmm. And he only shoots the ball 3 times in the second half. And it kind of felt like that was his way of saying, like, I'm done with this. I need help.
And then it carries into the next year. Like, the next season is just a slightly watered down version of the previous year. Like, he still averages 31 points per game. They make the playoffs again. He has 10 50-point games that year.
4 in a row, right?
I believe so. 4 in a row. But it feels like it's lost its luster a little bit. And you're right. Like, at this point, it's 2-3 years now where there is just not a supporting cast around him that is of a quality where you could really compete deep into the playoffs.
Absolutely.
And that's where we get to the point where he says that if Jerry West doesn't come back to the Lakers, he wants out.
Absolutely. And it's 2 years in a row where he loses to the Suns. Mm-hmm. And we just got done covering the Suns. It just didn't feel like they were close.
No.
It felt like that first year they played the Suns, he just had some magic in him, and he, got it to 7, which is incredible. But then that next year they lose 4-1, and things just don't look as promising. And yeah, he famously requests the trade, and he says that he feels betrayed by GM Mitch Kupchak and called the team untrustworthy. And I believe, did he do that with Stephen A. at like a McDonald's or something like that?
So I have the timeline here. May 27th, 2007, ESPN reports that Kobe wants to be traded if Jerry West doesn't come back to the Lakers. 3 days later on Stephen A.'s radio show, he says point blank that he wants to be traded. And that comes after a LA Times story with an anonymous Lakers insider who basically puts the crumbling of this championship team squarely on Kobe. So all this goodwill that he's accumulated over the last 2 years, carrying this shit sandwich supporting cast to the playoffs, getting them as far as anyone could reasonably get them, the Lakers, it seems like, are turning their back on him. And it feels like at that point, okay, that's the end of this chapter. And, at this point, who's going to end up with Kobe is the question that it looks like we're going to be talking about going into that summer of 2007.
Absolutely. No, it's certainly, the game changed, I think, the way fans looked at him, in the sense of, he's without a doubt one of the best players in the league, if not the best player in the league. But he hadn't turned the corner to be that champion Mamba yet.
Right.
And people were, they're knocking him for it, and they thought that he was never going to get there. And I think that he doesn't get there right away after he demands the trade. I think that there are certain things that happen in his career, even outside of NBA basketball, that really help him shape the type of leader and the type of player he turns into being in his later stages, and really completely does a 180. He went from being like the selfish guy who only wants to score to being the ultimate winner and is willing to do literally whatever he has to do to win. And it's fascinating to kind of see that, and to relive that. And we'll kind of cover how he gets there. But as of right now, in 2007, he's without a doubt one of the best players in the league, but far from being a champion.
And remains polarizing.
Absolutely.
At that point.
Absolutely.
So to put a bow on this, I have to say it's interesting to me. And we've talked about this before. You're a Kobe fan, I'm a LeBron fan. And I think even if we weren't, there is going to be a lot of those two guys in NBA Campfire, just because they are two of the best and most polarizing players in NBA history. But it's interesting to me that Kobe has that interview with Stephen A. on May 30th, 2007. And it looks like this Lakers era for him is about to end. It's going to be, what is the next era for him? And meanwhile, one day later, and we're going to be covering this game next week, there's another player on the East Coast who, like Kobe, was billed as the heir apparent to Michael Jordan, who is having his own career-defining moment just one day after Kobe requests his trade. And to me, that is just one of the many ways that Kobe and LeBron are intertwined throughout this whole 25-year period that we're covering here on NBA Campfire. It goes without saying, you can't tell the story of this incredible sport without those two guys. And I think we're getting to the point now in our journey where we're going to be getting a lot of Kobe and a lot of LeBron coming up in the next few weeks.
Not mad at it.
Not mad at it.
Not mad at it. No, perfectly said. I think, we had two of the biggest stars, at a crossroads a little bit. Well, Kobe was at a crossroads, and LeBron was just starting to kind of peak. And it was a defining moment for sure in the NBA, I would say. And it's going to be really exciting to cover that, and then to cover how they help each other.
Which I don't think it's covered enough, because They are so often pitted as rivals, but I think that, and we'll get to it in a couple weeks, but they both become the players that they eventually become because of their experience with one another.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, it's been a blast, my man.
As always.
Always.
We got a draft in. We got to talk about our old playing days. We got to talk about Kobe.
Man.
Can't beat that.
Let's go. Let's go.
Get those marshmallows ready.
Always.
Yeah, so we're only 6 of 25 episodes in. So if you've been watching from the start, we appreciate you hanging out. Same time, same flame next week, friends. Thanks, Vin.
Be good.
And the second overtime. Here's James for three. Yes! The game is tied. 107.
This is unbelievable. This is Jordan-esque.